Greetings to you all. Fatal Challenge of Evils, Part 2. In the first part, we have paid attention to structural living environment of individuals around the world. We have introduced a new word, the demonstrative governance. We have also spent time in looking to First World War, some events in past 300 years, and the role of the governments. Now, in part 2, we will dive into some imposing events of 21st century like the hydrogen bomb or the marginal satisfaction of individuals and divine balance, and along with that, the belief background of humanity. Just follow me on the next illustration. The current year is not 2020 but 5820 because the religious year counting had been processed in your blood. I also placed the year counting that you are familiar with. On the illustration, we have two imposing events. Technological progresses on the top and deadly diseases at the bottom. First, deadly disease has been discovered in 1980 after the Second World War. But before entering to the deadly diseases, I would like to draw your attention to 1910, the submarine detection. 1918, artificial fertilizers revolutionizes agriculture. So, if you have looked to my previous article on the intelligence of the humanity, you would have seen that it has taken too long time for humanity to develop the agriculture sector. For thousands of years, humanity walked behind an animal with the plow. And right in 1918, artificial fertilizer revolutionizes agriculture. They came up with a solution to have much more yield. And then in 1924, the first time humanity used wireless faxing. 1926, rocketry. 1928, the penicillin. And then in 1930, the jet engine was introduced. And in 1939, they have discovered night vision and farming combines. Duct tape. 1947, first semiconducting transistor, start of automation. In 1940s, they even found the ballistic missiles and nukes. First Turing complete computer also was discovered in that era. And in 1956, the first hard drive. And in 1969, the internet was found. And in 1973, internet protocol. And also humanity has been able to modify organism. The genetically modified organism has been introduced to the world. In 1980s, precision agriculture has been introduced. In 1983, the cell phones. In 1994, the smartphones. And we come to the disease side. Epidemic Intelligence Service participates in 205 outbreaks in United States. And the first introduction of disease by bats. Asian flu in 1957. In 1980, the HIV and the AIDS. In 2003, SARS. In 2008, Salmonella and others. And in 2009, H1N1 influenza virus. In 2014, the Ebola. And in 2020, COVID-19. Terrible events of 21st century. The identification and pinpointing of challenging people is very simple and yet too complicated. But if we look at the critical technologies, we may be able to get an idea of the source controllers. An example of critical high-tech products is wave management of the sound. They have been able to redirect the sound that were coming out of a speaker. So it means, for example, they can mislead people or enemies by this technology. Or the hydrogen bomb has been used in some part of the world, especially by totalitarian and religious governments. This system sees the humanity as disposable objects with no mercy. The people in this cruel system are able to manipulate the human, animal, and other creatures' genes. Back to our days now. Today, there are people who have control over security, food, finance, drugs, energy, technologies, and transportation systems. Back to our daily life once again. The ones who have control over the systems in our societies, they are actually fed up with life's offerings. From their perspective, is the life's offering limited? They think they are stuck and see no opportunities except keeping the world only for themselves and for a few. Please think about the marginal satisfaction of individuals' needs or desires. In an unbalanced divine environment, human beings may get confused of the choices or the priority of things, or they may take distance from universal norms and values by the imbalance. Now just take a look at the events that have happened in past 50 or 60 years. After the Second World War, they started to building upon the prejudiced world by constantly pumping money into their societies and neglecting the rest of the world. In Creator's name, how can we talk about the fairness of the establishment? They even have extinguished the small sparks of lights and new ideas around the world. Between 40s and 90s, it has been extremely easy to do this. Now, the challenging evils are at work. In the first part, we have provided a common base for every individual to be assessed in his or her living environment. Just recall the structural organizations, such as social and public organizations, and the belief system. The belief system has always been the greatest argument to get people at the same line. Therefore, we just take a quick look at religion once more. It has started with Prophet Adam. Cuneiform way of writing. Buddhism entered into stage. And then Prophet Abraham. Chinese alphabet has been found, the Latin alphabet has been found, and then came the Hinduism into play, and then Prophet Messiah, and then the last Abrahamic religion, Islam, with Prophet Muhammad. They all promised us eternal life. But before that, we had to find mechanizations, automation, and internet. Now, the establishment has to have a way to control the natural energy sources around the world, and especially in the Middle East. There were two dominant folks here, the Arabs and the Iranians. According to an old English proverb, to have control over Arabs, you should keep them wealthy, and the Iranians, you should keep them busy and poor. This is exactly what is going on in both countries. To achieve this, they should have a good reason, and this reason had already been found after the Second World War. Poor Jewish people became victims of some international evil people, and due to their vulnerability, the establishment used them by placing them in the promising land. The Jewish people were taken to Arab soil, what we call Israel today. The establishment provided them the nuclear power. In reality, this is hitting two birds with one stone. It is also interesting to observe that Israel's territory has grown considerably since 1979. Could this be a big coincidence? God bless you all. See you at the next part. Bye.